But this one morning I got up and I decided to take a walk and just start hiking up the side of this mountain. Mahoney Creek's at the very bottom, there at the river, and on the Salmon River. And so I just decided to start climbing up through these rolling hills and continued to climb. And it was really stopped periodically when I was out of breath, and I would just pray and I'd say, Lord, you got to speak to me about this. I know that you're doing something in my heart, and I've had this experience before. I recognize when God's trying to get my attention, and I just kept hiking, and then periodically would stop and pray, and then I would hike, and then I'd stop and pray until finally I came to almost the top of this mountain. I came to this knob, and I got up there, and I figured, well, surely God will speak to me on the top of the mountain. And yet I heard nothing. In fact, I felt a little foolish. I looked back. It looked like the size of a postage stamp below me was the camp down there on the river. I could see my family, and I thought, I need just to go back down there and enjoy this time. I'm in the heart of the Idaho wilderness. It's like one of my favorite places in the world, and I just need to go and really relish and enjoy this time. And so I walked back off of the mountain, and I was going back down to following this ridge back down towards the camp, several miles below. And I came to a draw, and this draw is a beautiful draw, aspen-filled draw. And I was just walking alongside of it and looked across to the other side of the draw, and I saw something that really just struck me. It caught my eye. It was a bright yellow something. It was just looked out of place. Where I was, I'm in the very center of the Idaho wilderness area. There's no litter, there's no trash. There's no sign of anybody. I'm at the top of a mountain, and whatever that was, it was the wrong color to be a flower. I just knew it was something. Something just spoke to me and said, I've got to go find out what that is. And I traversed down through the draw and back up the other side and came to this berry bush, a thorny bush. And at this point, I always like to say, and it was burning but not being consumed, but obviously not. But underneath this bush was a bright yellow balloon. And I climbed under the bush. How it got under there, I'll never know. The wind must have blown it in there somehow. And I realized this balloon had been there who knows how long. This mountain was under snowpack a good portion of the year. And this balloon was deflated, but was intact. And I pulled it out and looked at it, and I realized first of all, it had a picture of Noah's Ark on the side of the balloon. And I thought, this balloon must be from the Lord, a message. And I had, it's funny because before this I had found three other balloons that had messages in them. And those are other stories, but I'm kind of an expert on balloons and notes in balloons, and I know a couple of things. One is that usually most people tie a message on a string. Well, this actually had a string, and you could actually see where a message had been tied, but had long ago rotted off or had disintegrated. But knowing what I know, that there's a second way to put a message in a balloon, and that is to actually roll it up and put it inside the balloon. And I felt the balloon, and sure enough, I could feel this small scroll of paper within the balloon. Now, I don't know, but at that moment, I knew that the Lord had written me a message, and it was in this balloon with the picture of Noah's Ark on the side. I was nervous, actually. So I took the balloon and I climbed back down through the ravine and up the other side, back to where I was, up into the sunshine on the side of this ridge. And I sat in the sun, and with this expectation in my heart, I ripped open the side of the balloon and I pulled out this tiny little scroll of paper, which was written on notebook paper. It had obviously been there for a long time. And unrolled it, and on it was the passage from 1 John 4, 7, and 8, and it said, "Children, let us love one another." And then on the other side it said, "Go love people." And I said to the Lord at that point, I said, "Lord, I'm asking you like a real question here. Should I go to Boise and start a church?" I mean, is that what you're telling me to do? And the Lord spoke to me then in that still small voice by the Spirit so clearly. He says, I don't care where you do it. I just want you to go build a church that loves people. And then asked in the form of a question, do you want to do it in Boise, Idaho? I just broke. I just started weeping there on the side of that mountain because literally I had discovered what the Lord had already put in my heart to do. And that's to go to Boise and begin this church that would love people. Took the roll of paper, I put it in the balloon, and I put it in my pocket, and I walked back down the hill. And I met Nancy at the tent when I got down there, and she came out. She goes, well, did the Lord speak to you? And I go, yeah, he wrote me a note. And I pulled out the note and gave it to her. You know, through the years when things have been maybe not the best of times, when there's been some rough times here, now nearly 20 years later, I've pulled that note out and I've read it. I've reminded God, this was your idea, God. And I've just tried to be obedient to it through all these years. But the reality of the matter is that God has built a church that really has the banner over it. Come as you are, you'll be loved. A church that is just destined to love people. Love the addict, love the prisoner, love the downtrodden, love the wounded, love the affluent, love people. It's been a great, great privilege to do this work. But really, I tell you this story because the vision of the Boise Vineyard really emerged out of 1 John 4:7 and 8.